Texas has gone from being a solid Republican state to being a toss-up in the presidential election. Donald Trump and Joe Biden are now tied in Texas, and so Republicans are trying to win Texas by throwing away votes cast by Democrats. That is the only purpose of two lawsuits brought by Republicans in Texas. The Texas Supreme Court, which is filled with nothing but Republican judges, rejected the first case on Sunday. Then the Republicans filed essentially the same lawsuit in federal court, where it was considered today by federal Judge Andrew Hanen, who was appointed by Republican President George W. Bush. Judge Hanen also dismissed that Republican lawsuit today. Each case was filed against our next guest, Harris County Clerk Chris Hollins, who set up drive-through voting as a COVID-19 safety precaution. At least 127,000 early voting ballots were cast in the drive-through voting locations in Harris County, Texas, which includes part of Houston. It is the biggest county in the state of Texas, and it usually votes Democratic. Joining us now is Harris County, Texas Clerk Chris Hollins. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Was there any indication in these lawsuits that the Republicans will be back in court making the same claim after Election Day?
Well, if the past has shown us anything, it means that they're going to be relentless in doing their best to suppress votes here in Texas. And so I wouldn't be surprised if there are more lawsuits after this. The one that got rejected today was one of at least 10 filed by these same plaintiffs. They've lost every single one, fortunately, but they haven't shown any sign of giving up.
Do the judges involved indicate that the posture of the case changes after Election Day and might become more favorable to them to be able to disallow the counting of those votes?
Not at all. The judge today was exceedingly clear that the 127,000 votes that have already been casted here, and those are Republican votes and Democratic votes, just to be clear, but those are going to be counted. And we're thrilled about that. My job is to protect the right to vote for all Harris County voters. And we're so glad that the 1.4 million votes that have been cast already are safe. And we're looking forward to hundreds of thousands more coming in tomorrow.
Now, the votes coming in tomorrow, are they going to be held apart and separate from the other votes in case there is litigation about the way votes were cast?
Well, we always preserve all of our votes for any sort of audit or investigation. And so we'll preserve them in the same way that we always have. But again, the law is on our side here. We don't expect there to be any meritorious claim made against these votes. And we're going to make sure that every resident here in Harris County who's registered to vote has the opportunity to have their voice heard this November.
What is your legal authority to decide to have drive-through voting?
So I make a recommendation to our commissioners court, which is bipartisan, to determine the locations of voting. And those locations include our drive-through voting locations. And they were approved unanimously a couple of months ago.
And in tomorrow's voting, does the early voting indicate that then tomorrow's voting won't be such long lines because the early voting has taken so many people out of those lines?
Almost certainly. We expect somewhere between 200,000 and 400,000 votes to come in tomorrow, but we have over 800 voting locations across Harris County. And so I'm going to knock on wood, but we're expecting a smooth day tomorrow. We look forward to making sure that voters can cast their votes safely and conveniently and with the peace of mind that their votes are going to be counted.